So excited to have you guys on. Today, I'm having you guys join me from here in the Maldives, and I cannot wait to showcase some of the unbelievable content that we've been filming for my TV show, Great Escapes, and also for this incredible ultra luxury resort. So we even have some incredible panelists that are coming on today to talk about luxury travel and all the incredible stuff that we can film and shoot and photograph on location in an amazing destination like the Maldives. And for me, I'm a very fortunate guy because I've been able to spend my career not only as a celebrity fashion photographer, but also because I have had the opportunity to be the TV host and director of the TV show Great Escapes that airs, that actually starts airing once again on CBS in about 9 days, which I'm really excited about. So I have had this opportunity to be able to travel around the world, to go to the most unbelievable destinations, and have an experiences of a lifetime. We've been doing travel photography and video in places like the Maldives, where we're at right now. We've also done episodes of our show in Bora Bora, Latahaha, Kia Ora, Rangiroa, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Maui, Kauai, Tokyo, all over the world in some of the most spectacular and ridiculous destinations you could possibly imagine. This to give you guys a little preview of the travel show, to show you some of the incredible destination travel experiences that we've had the opportunity to shoot. So and when we're at these destinations, we're here to create content that is supposed to draw people in, that's supposed to make people so excited about what we're doing, making them feel like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out. I want to be there. I want to be in this unbelievable destination as well. And that's kind of the whole point. So what we're trying to do and achieve with luxury travel is we're trying to make the viewer, the person who's going to be seeing this content, just so excited about everything that we're going to show that we can do on location in one of these unbelievable destinations, like whether it's Bora Bora or the Maldives or Abu Dhabi, playing camel polo in Dubai, or going to places where we're doing personal submarine experiences in Bora Bora. So all of these amazing opportunities are supposed to take the breath away of the viewer and make them feel like, oh my gosh, I want to be there so bad. So I'm really glad you guys are joining us today, because we have just spent the last, about 10 days filming and photographing here on location in one of my favorite places in the world. And this is, of course, Heritance Aarah, Maldives. And also we had the experience of not only being here at Heritance Aarah, but we were also just arrived at You and Me Cocoon, Maldives. And we're filming episodes at both destinations. In fact, at Heritance, it was on another level of 5-star. I mean, if many of you guys have ever traveled to places like Hawaii or the Caribbean or even French Polynesia, there is nothing in the world as over the top and epic as Heritance Aarah, Maldives. It was so ridiculous. I mean, I would say that, I would almost classify it as like a 7-star resort because it was so elite, having your own personal butler, having unbelievable Michelin star chefs and incredible dining experiences that just take your breath away. I mean, it was out of this world as far as quality, as far as luxury, as far as everything you could just absolutely dream of. It was there. It was absolutely insane. So, this is just a few little clips that we were just shooting here at Heritance Aarah to give you guys an idea of what this epic destination is all about. And of course, all this content is just straight out of camera. We haven't even had a chance to edit it yet because we're in the midst of shooting right now. In fact, today we're going to be out in the water, and we're going to be shooting with the sea bobs, which are essentially kind of like that James Bond thing where you've got the little, it's like these little mini torpedoes that are like propelling you through the water, which is kind of fun. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be shooting it with sharks and fish and sea turtles all around us. And we're going to be shooting with an underwater camera body, which is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a huge Ike Light underwater camera body, and we're going to be shooting everything with the Canon R5. So, which I don't know if many of you guys use that one yet, but it's definitely a camera that I have fallen in love with. It's something that it shoots video in 8K at 2997. It also it shoots at slow-mo in 4K at 120 frames a second, which is something that's actually the reason I got it. And also I'm joining with some of our panelists right now. So I know Daniel Rothschild is jumping on. We also are going to be joined by Enoch Chan, which he not only has, as he signed up for 2 of our epic workshops, he's coming to New York City, and he's also coming to the Elite Masterclass. But Enoch and his wonderful wife, Kimmy, they were so excited and amped that they wanted to do something early, and they joined us for a one-on-one experience here in the Maldives. So we just got an experience where I just literally spent the last week with Kimmy and Enoch, and we gave them an experience of a lifetime, 5-star, unbelievable opportunity. They had their own private butler. They had this experience of a lifetime along with me. And it was an experience that was very, very custom. It's very unique. It's something that we don't typically do, but we offer that to basically have Enoch join us and be a cinematographer and camera operator with me, alongside me, learning all my tricks and strategies. And then also he will be featured as a cinematographer and camera operator in the credits on the TV show Great Escapes for CBS, which is really, really exciting. So it was kind of like, wow, like what an opportunity out of a dream. We offered him that opportunity. If it's something that you guys are interested in doing, we happen to have one more slot available, and it's going to be at the essentially where we're at now, which is we just arrived here at You and Me Cocoon, which is an ultra luxury 5-star resort that is absolutely ridiculous. It's adults only, and we're going to be here. So we have the window of time from September 8th and through the 15th. If anyone does want to join us, we have 1 spot left. We also have a world-class camera operator that I believe he's been featured in National Geographic. He's also one of the top camera operators and drone operators in the world. And Raf van der Veerdonken from the Netherlands, he flies in 2 days, and he's going to be with us, and he's going to be shooting just mind-blowing content with us. And you'd be joining him, learning all the strategies from myself, as well as that incredible cinematographer and camera operator, Ralph, which is pretty spectacular. In fact, some of the content that he shot last time with me was some of this incredible content. So this was actually shot with Ralph on location in Bora Bora, and just created just some insane work. He's amazing. He's just like his content is just straight out of a dream. So if you guys want to become a master in this and learn at the highest level in luxury travel and resort, this is something that I have been spending most of my career doing. So it's what I love doing. It's something that I feel is just an experience of a lifetime. And I feel like it's something that I am so excited that you guys are going to be, could have the opportunity to join us, which is pretty fantastic. So I want to make sure that when you guys are thinking about luxury travel, think about essentially what the resort has to offer, and what are we going to do to provide them an experience of a lifetime, or I should say the resort is going to provide them with an experience of a lifetime, and how we can showcase what that is, how we can showcase what that's all about. If you want to make sure that you are, going to be creating content that is just overwhelming the audience, and you need to think about all the experiences. So dining is going to be a big thing, especially here in the Maldives. They bring in Michelin star chefs. They have this unbelievable, amazing work as far as the culinary side, but also think about the water activities. For me, that's a really big deal. I love the water activities with doing things like snorkeling, diving, doing the water sports. You know, we did tubing, we did wakeboarding so far. We've done jet skiing. We've done all of these experiences that we've been shooting because they really want to show off all the water sports, because obviously this is a water-friendly area in the Maldives, and they want to showcase the pools and all of the, if there's a special like sandbank experience, which we're going to go out and film today and photograph. We're going to be going out to this little private just sandbank in the middle of the ocean, where almost it's like you're on a secluded private island that's so tiny it's only going to be like maybe 15 feet in diameter, and we're going to be out there and we're going to be shooting some incredible scenes out there as well. So it's pretty spectacular, and I'm just so excited to make sure that this resort is seen as, you know, one of the most ultra luxury destinations in the world that everybody wants to see, everybody wants to visit. Now, I'm doing this for the TV show, but I'm also doing this because I want to make sure that you know, I'm creating more and more content, not only for myself, but also because I shoot campaigns for resorts. And if you guys want to make a living in travel and luxury travel, then I recommend also creating content and shooting for resort advertising campaigns. And for me, you know, I've had the opportunity to shoot with the Four Seasons, with the Ritz-Carlton, with St. Regis, as well as all these unbelievable resorts that you might not have heard of, like Heritance Maldives, with Latahaha was a relais chateau in French Polynesia, which is one of the most luxurious resorts I've ever been to. But we've done all over the world some of the most amazing opportunities. And when we're creating content like this, I'm also going to be marketing that and trying to land more and more advertising clients for resorts, so that these resorts are going to be, okay, you know, we want to hire your team to photograph and shoot the commercial and the photographic ad campaign for the resort to show it off to their audience and essentially increase bookings, because that's really what it all comes down to, is they want to be sold out. They want to have all the rooms sold out. And of course, in the Maldives, this is a becoming a highly competitive destination. There are now, like for instance, let me give you guys some context. We just shot in Bora Bora, and in Bora Bora, I believe there are only 6 resorts in Bora Bora. Okay, so they're all vying for, you know, there's a lot of customers that want to go to Bora Bora. And there's only 6 resorts, and they're not that big. So it's expensive. It's one of the most expensive places in the world. I think it's minimum hotel stay at Four Seasons Bora Bora. When we went, it was $2,500 a night. And when we're shooting for the Four Seasons Bora Bora, that was insane. But you come to the Maldives, there are 180 resorts, 5-star resorts in the Maldives. So it's just ridiculous, with unbelievable 5-star resorts everywhere you go. And they're all vying for a competitive edge, right? So some of them bring in TV shows like mine, and we can showcase the resort to their audience and get them excited on a mass scale, on a worldwide scale, which is huge. But also making sure that when you guys are you know, choosing which resort to go to the Maldives, that you get to choose whether it's Heritance Aarah or whether it's Union Cocoon, and that can get you guys excited, or get the audience excited about, let's choose this resort rather than that resort. And of course, what is going to give them that competitive edge? What is exciting and unique about that resort that I feel makes it stronger than another? And that's where it actually becomes very, very difficult, because a lot of these resorts are kind of similar. They're very, 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 very similar. But they all have their own different experiences. So one of the things and strategies that I do is, upon you know, communicating to the resorts, I'm going to be offering them, okay, what is it that I offer, that Kevin Michael Schmitz offers, that might be different than what they already do, right? So what can I offer to make them feel like, okay, you know, what I have to offer is different than what they've already been creating? What have they already been doing for their advertising, their marketing? And is there something else that I can show them to make them feel like, okay, this is something that I'm going to get really excited about, right? Is there something different? And, you know, for something like this, you know, when we're shooting at some of these epic destinations, this includes the Bora Bora Pearl Beach. It includes, I believe some of this content was in Latahaha. And then also some of the content we shot I've got some of this stuff from Tokyo, from Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Maldives, personal submarine experiences, all these amazing opportunities, and showcasing this unbelievable content. getting this stuff that's just out of this world and makes you feel like you are, you know, like on this travel show with us. Now, this is something that, you know, we're shooting not only for the show, but also like I mentioned for the resorts. And so what I'm going to do is showcase that, okay, in this case, you know, I'm a travel host, so I can be talent, I can be camera operator, I can be and cinematographer, I can be a director, I can produce it, I can create content that's out of this world. It's something that I have an opportunity to create amazing, amazing work that's going to just wow and dazzle the client. And it's something that, okay, if I've got this opportunity to showcase to them, I'm going to offer them a value add of something that they don't really have. Oh, by the way, that was a seaplane that just flew off behind me. This resort, it can only be accessed by seaplane, which is really cool in and of itself. But it's something that I want to make sure that I can showcase to the clients that I am doing something that is very, very unique and that I can offer them something, the value add. Whereas a lot of photographers, they don't do that. They're just essentially throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks, throwing their work and saying, hey, are you interested in working with me? Look at my travel photography or look at my travel video and book me. And it's like, okay, well, everyone's doing that. Now, granted, if you've got better travel photography and video than the next guy, then that works. That can be great. But the challenge is that, you know, you're only offering something based upon, you know, something basic, something that maybe other people are offering. I want you to start thinking about what you can offer that is a value add that might be different than what other people are offering. So think about that. And in this case, I'm offering something where I bring a lot more to the table. I'm bringing the fact that I can be talent, I can be cinematographer, I can operate drones, I can operate underwater cameras, I can do all this really cool stuff. And it's kind of unique because not everybody can do that. So I'm going to showcase to them that it's like, okay, I'm not only a photographer, but I also direct video, and I also can do all these other value adds that can bring to the table. And when you're doing something for a resort, if they're limited on budget, which many of them are, they're going to be very budget conscious. So they're not going to be bringing, like when I do a big ad campaign in the US, I'm going to have 20 people on set. You know, that's typical. Well, they're not going to be flying in 20 people to the Maldives and putting them up in overwater villas and having 20 people there shooting. It would cost them a fortune. It would cost them hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do all of that production. So the fact that I can be a smaller team, it's very unique and niche. You know, here I have just a team of 6. And there's only 6 of us here. And that way, you know, I've got people working as camera operators. I've got people working as audio for when we're doing audio recording. We're having people that will go into the water, or I bring a diver from the dive center into the water to help operate underwater cameras. We're going to have somebody as a PA holding equipment, holding scrims and bounces and things like that. So I've got different people doing different things, but I'm also making sure that I have a crew that can do a lot of different things and not just one thing, just like me. So this is something that I bring in as a value add. When I bring this into a clientele, I want to make sure that I'm showing them that I offer so much to the table that I'm going to be the one that they're going to want to work with rather than somebody else. And I want you guys to do exactly the same thing. So build a luxury travel portfolio and or video reel and showcase that to people, making sure that they feel like, okay, you know, what is it that, like, you know, I know we've got a bunch of amazing photographers on here, like, for instance, Prince is on here. Now, Prince, you know, I would say if you want to get into luxury travel, you've got to showcase that you've got a full-scale portfolio of a 40-image cohesive body of work of amazing luxury resort travel photography. Also, high-end video reel, something that's going to wow and dazzle clients and make them so excited about what you have to offer. So Prince, if you want to do that at the highest level, then definitely we've got to build that entire 40-image body of work. And I know you're doing that with us because you're coming to a series of workshops, and I'm really proud of you, Prince, because that's a really huge step for you going forward. And if for many of you guys that have also been on and taken our fashion workshops, for instance, the lifestyle workshops are a really, really great opportunity to take yourself to the next level. and to give you an opportunity to be like, okay, well, you know, which workshop do I want to, that's going to help build my luxury travel experience? Which one would that be? Now, in this circumstance, we have a couple that would. You know, first and foremost, I would say that doing something like the workshop that we have in Newport Beach, which I believe is sold out. I'd have to check on that because our workshops are all sold out about 6 months out, which is pretty crazy. But it's pretty awesome, but they've all been sold out from New York to Masterclass to Newport. I mean, sometimes we can squeeze somebody else in if you guys really want to go, but generally I think everything is sold out until essentially March of next year. But if you guys are interested in these highly sought after experiences with me or personal one-on-ones to the Maldives, let me know, because that's something that's really important to help develop your portfolio in your brand. Now, obviously, building a luxury travel resort body of work is not easy, and it's also very, very expensive. But I definitely want to make sure that you guys think about, okay, if I need to build that body of work, what does that take? Now, it can be costly to fly to the Maldives and stay at a $1,400 a night resort, like we were at Heritance Aarah, or and also bring in a team, you know, bring in the top camera operators in the world, like Ralph van der Veerdonken from the Netherlands, and to be able to shoot content at this level, the cost is astronomical to do it on your own. But feel free to do it if you want to. But generally, you know, I would say if you were to try to do something like this on your own with 3 overwater villas and flying everybody in and doing something at this level, you know, it's probably in the realm of $100,000 to $150,000 for, you know, for what we're doing here. You know, so if you guys want to do that at a much lesser expensive level, and if you don't have necessarily that kind of budget, then we have opportunities for you. For instance, a one-on-one experience with me to the Maldives, where you get all the benefits and you get access to the most luxurious resorts in the world, and you get to shoot with all my equipment, from the high-end drones to the high-end 8K cameras. For instance, we're going to be shooting with, in fact, some of that content that I just showed you, we're going to be shooting with this baby. This is my absolute favorite. We're shooting with in 8K Canon R5. We actually have a couple of these, and we're shooting on a gimbal. So this is one of my favorite pieces. This is a Ronin S2 Pro, and this is something that I use constantly when filming and shooting. So this is a stabilizer. So as you move it, it's going to stabilize the camera. And if those of you guys who've attended workshops with me, you guys have got to experience this. But it's beautiful. Just the footage is so smooth, so slick. And this is a really, really incredible camera. So you can move it up and down, and obviously you can move it forward, back, side to side, and you can create amazing content with this. This is one of my best friends, the Canon R5 mixed with the Ronin S2. That's a really great combination. Amazing. And it's also important to bring multiple ones, because we were shooting off the side of a jet ski. And it was unfortunate, but we're shooting off the side of a jet ski, and our camera operator dipped into the water and got the camera, got one of the R5s wet with the Ronin, and the Ronin went down. So one of the Ronins is destroyed, unfortunately, with water damage. So luckily we have backups, so we've got other ones. But that does happen. It does happen. And you know, when you're out on a place like this, you're in the middle of nowhere. So there is no option to get more equipment. They have none. I mean, there are no production services here whatsoever. So you literally, this is all you get, whatever you bring. So that's really, really important, is to be really aware of what kind of stuff you're bringing, and making sure you literally need to bring the kitchen sink. And that's not easy, because when you're shooting with a lot of gear, it's really hard to transport it to a place like this. So I'm very particular about my packing, and I'm very careful about that, about how much gear I pack, what I pack, and making sure that I'm bringing only what's absolutely necessary, but also making sure that I have everything at my disposal. So that's a really tight line. It's a fine line, because a lot of times, you know, there's so much more equipment that I want to bring that I cannot bring, because it just won't fit into luggage, because we're not only transporting in international flights, but we're also going to be going to places that are only accessible through seaplane. So you have to be very, very careful with all of this stuff. And by the way, this is this is actually some of the content that was actually published at our past experiences here in the Maldives. And this is another great opportunity that I want to mention too, is getting editorial publications. So when you're shooting, also reach out to magazines and develop editorial publications, so you can make sure that you get published in addition to also photographing. I think that's really, really important to do. That way, your clients get really excited, because it's like, oh, okay, you know, you're publishing travel stories in magazines. So you're becoming more of a sought after photographer. And if you create content like this, which was shot by an aerial drone, I think this was a couple years back, and this was with a Phantom 4 Pro. Nowadays, we're using the Mavic Pro 2, which is our main drone, and for something like this. You know, photographing in RAW, and also obviously filming. Then also shooting something like this. I'm gonna pull up another image that's a lot more of a complicated scene to shoot, but this is something that I definitely am carefully orchestrating a scene like this. Actually, let me share that again. Something like this. And this way, this was actually shot with that world-class camera operator from National Geographic, who, you know, and it showcases context. So it's not just it shows the location, but it also shows an action, and it shows the talent. So this is really hard to do, but we're creating a scene where you've got the outrigger breakfast, which is a really cool feature of the Bora Bora Pearl Beach Resort, which is the one that we shot this one at. So it shows the amazing resort. It shows the you know, you've got this whole native Polynesian outrigger paddling to us, and they come in and serve you breakfast at your overwater villa via outrigger, which is really cool, but very challenging to do because it's a super windy day, as you can see, with all the palm trees in the background. And my drone operator is capturing a video scene, swooping in, and then also photographing this as well. Not easy to do, especially in harsh winds, especially when you have to launch drones off of docks or off of the center of the water, which I often do, which is challenging. But this is something that very, very, very hard to do. But this kind of gives you an example of some of the stuff we're doing here that is really exciting. So I want to make sure that when you guys are shooting, make sure to not just include travel photography, meaning just like pictures and video of pretty places, but also include context. Also include stuff that is going to showcase all the juiciness of like, okay, is this something that's just a place, or is it a place where you can do things in? Like here, where you get to see all this awesomeness in a place like Bora Bora, and it shows like, oh, outrigger breakfast. That's unique. That's really cool. It's something that's, you know, it shows that, wow, this is something that is a lot more than just a basic trip. It's also, we offer a, you know, this resort happens to offer an outrigger breakfast, which is really cool. And which, you know, to be honest, this was an amazing experience, but not nearly as spectacular as the location that we are currently at. I mean, I would say that this is a much higher level resort where we're at right now in the Maldives, but we're giving the facade that the Bora Bora Pearl Beach is like the greatest place in the world, right? So, you know, that's what it's all about. It's just giving everyone the perception that this is just spectacular, that this is just over the top and elite, and it's like, this is the go-to place. So by the way, guys, I am also, if you guys have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Q&A. If you have any questions or comments, please do. And I'd love to answer some of these questions before I bring my panelists on. So Amy Merchant asks, are you a photographer? Absolutely, I'm a photographer. I am a photographer. That's all I've ever done. I'm a celebrity fashion advertising photographer. Amy, I have been shooting my entire career, and I I've shot for huge ad campaigns, six-figure ad campaigns, from you know, $150,000 to $500,000 ad campaigns. I've shot for major editorials. I've been published in over 200 magazine editorials. I have done all kinds of amazing photographic projects over the years for commercial clients, editorial clients, advertising clients, celebrity clients. And and that's essentially where I started. I have my bachelor's and my MFA to be a professor of photography. So it's all I've ever really done. And I, you know, am also a, you know, I mentor photographers. That's something that I take a lot of pride in, is I also get to mentor photographers and give them an experience at the highest level, because I want to make sure that my photographers that I work with also get to maximize their photography. But that's a great question, Amy, and I'm glad you asked that, especially if this is your first, this must be your first webinar, because we've got about 32 other webinars that are free. We highly encourage photographic education here, and we offer all kinds of free content to showcase to you guys all the secrets of fashion photography, secrets of lifestyle photography, secrets of shooting editorials like this. This is my photographic website at kevinschmitz.com that you guys can take a look at, or kevinmichaelschmitz.com, which is my lifestyle photography website. But this gives you a little bit of an idea of who I am as a photographer. But I also shoot travel. I also shoot documentary. I've shot portrait. I've shot all kinds of photography over the years, but they're all branded as separate entities and separate websites. So in answer to your question, Amy, yes, I am a photographer, and it's actually how I was able to translate that into becoming a cinematographer, because I became known for my lighting. And I was approached, I was actually speaking at an event with an 11-time Emmy award-winning director who was really excited about my lighting. And they were like, you know what, Kevin, I would love for you to translate this, all your amazing lighting, into video. So I was like, okay, great. Let's do it. So he hired me as a cinematographer, and that way I was able to come right in. I didn't have to start from the bottom as a PA or a camera operator, you know, first AC, second AC, or whatever, and build up to a camera operator, then eventually get the opportunity to be a cinematographer. I was able to jump right on as a cinematographer. And then I was able to start, I realized that as a photographer, my real ability and your real ability is you're about your directing capabilities, because anybody can operate a camera. You can learn that on YouTube. But to be able to direct a sequence, create a scene, and make this amazing content happen, that's really what a director does. So I realized that, okay, I'm more of a director. So I was able to go and shoot amazing travel content all over the world. And I was then noticed by a producer for a TV show, which is really cool. So they wanted me, and the fact that I could do everything is what they got really excited about. The fact that they could basically do all of this amazing, the fact that I could, you know, film and photograph, and I could go on location and be a director, a producer, a cinematographer, and a host. They love that, and they're like, all right, we want you in. So they essentially hired me on as the host, director, and producer of Great Escape. So that's kind of where that all came from. And I've been also producing, directing video production ever since, and creating high-end content, not just for travel, but also for lifestyle, also for fashion. And I've been doing this my entire career. So, but innately, I am a photographer. That is where I came from. But I also, I would say nowadays, I kind of split my time between being a photographer and also a director, producer, and host of a TV show. So I get to do a lot of different things, which is really fun. And I love to be able to mix it up. And also we bring in all these amazing panelists at our epic workshops. And at our workshops, and by the way, we have a poll going out, and I want to make sure you guys all answer it. But how likely are you to come to one of these epic experiences? Whether we're doing a fashion photography workshop in New York with supermodels from Vogue, whether we're going to the Elite Masterclass and creating content that is just out of this world, shooting unbelievable content with supermodels that we brought in from Vanity Fair, Harper's Bazaar, Versace campaign, and also having a day on lifestyle advertising. Or if you're come to Newport Beach and create epic lifestyle content, or come to Las Vegas, or join me for a luxury travel resort photography workshop in Miami Beach. And we're going to do that at a luxury resort and on location in Miami Beach, which is absolutely epic. If you guys are interested, this is also my my reel. So you guys can take a look at this as well to see what we do between what we do and produce, direct, and shoot. And a lot of these, some of these were actually from our photo shoots and from our workshops. I'd say about half of this content. The other half is from our commercials, celebrity content, as well as my television show. This gives you kind of a little bit of a mix.
I love them. You're it. You look good today. It's all about what's inside of you. That was fun.
So that gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the content that that we shoot as far as productions. Now, that's not only commercials, but also some video from our photographic productions, which all the agents, the reps that I've spoken to this last year have all told me that what's hot right now, what they all want is they want video content just like that. And that's what they are looking for. They want that value add. They want to make sure that you're not just shooting, but you're also creating epic video content, whether you're on a photo shoot or you know, and shooting just a photographic campaign. They all want video too. So you as photographers can't just rely on still photography anymore. It is a must to do video. Absolutely required. So just think about that. Building that content is absolutely key and critical, and making sure that you got have that content right at your fingertips. It is absolutely vital. Make sure to go ahead and answer in the polls. I'd love to hear your opinion. If you are interested in coming to any of our experiences, either way, if you're interested, great, put a 10. If you're not, put a 1 or whatever, that's fine. But we'd love to know if you are interested. We have epic experiences on luxury travel, including destination experiences. We even have destination experiences to places like Bali, Morocco. We also have one to the French castle, which I've got a many of you guys have had the opportunity to see it, but I also have a 40,000 square foot, 49 room castle in France that we also have a travel experience to there as well, which is really exciting. In fact, we just came back from shooting there. So if you guys are interested in that type of travel as well, we have some amazing experiences on travel, but essentially it's going to be a fashion and high-end fashion and editorial workshop, but also obviously it gives you the opportunity to shoot unbelievable travel photography in a place like Massiat-en-Cambrai, which is in central France. It's about 3 hours from Switzerland. And this is, here, I'll show you just a little bit of video that I just shot 2 weeks ago here at my castle in France. This is this 49 room, 40,000 square foot castle from the 13th century. And this is an experience of a lifetime as well. So we also offer an experience here to the castle. If you guys are interested, we've got this opportunity as well. This is in August of 2022. We've got a section that is available, and we've already had the people enrolling left and right in this experience. This is an unbelievable production where you'll have 4 insane high-level production days that are equivalent of about $100,000 to $150,000 a day production. And you get to stay at the castle in style in a luxury room where the interior is being designed like King Louis XIV. So it's going to be totally over the top and it'll look within a facade like Versailles, which is really exciting. So if you guys want to have that experience as well, a different type of travel, obviously going to Europe and staying in a 13th century castle palace, which is absolutely spectacular. We're also going to have a Michelin star chef cooking all of your meals. Everything's included. And this is also absolutely insane. So if you guys are interested in coming to something like this, or joining me in the Maldives, or coming to a one of our 5-day experiences on travel, such as Miami Beach, or lifestyle photography like in Newport, which is extremely useful for high-end content in if you want to work with major resorts, because the last one we did, we worked with the SLS Miami Beach. We've worked with the Four Seasons Miami Beach in Miami at the Miami Workshop. We've worked at the Setai, the Fontainebleau, the Nobu Eden Rock. These are some of the most epic destinations and iconic resorts in Miami Beach that we've had access to when we've done workshops in over the years, which is really exciting. So if you guys are interested in any of those, I would love to see you guys there. I think Miami only has like 2 spots left. And so, like I said, all the workshops have been sold out for the upcoming next 6 months. If you did want to do something sooner, let us know, because we do have this opportunity to join us in the Maldives, which is really spectacular. And anyway, I want to get to some of the questions here, and I want to show you, I want to then bring on some panelists, and then I want to showcase some amazing more footage of what we shot here in the Maldives. I just want to showcase and kind of preface what we're doing. And I'm really excited. So make sure to stay on and stay on with us, because we've got a lot more to go over. But thank you for these questions, Amy. And also, Lance, do you bring your own equipment or do you rent gear for trips like this? Okay, great question, Lance. Very, very difficult situation. Like I mentioned, the Maldives is so remote that there are literally 0 production services, and there is no way to get equipment here in any way, shape, or form. There is one capital little city that you fly into on an international flight, but they have almost nothing as far as production equipment. So, and it's also nearly impossible if you're trying to transfer that equipment to the private island that you go to, because it's, when you get here, you never really see the capital city. You just go directly from the airport to the seaplane airport. And the seaplane airport then takes you on this tiny little 12-person seaplane to the island. So you have to bring everything. And I mean everything, Lance. I brought everything from C-clamps, like grip clamps, to 8x8 scrims, 8x8 silvers, bounces. I brought 2 of those, 2 8x8s, which are a beast to transport. These are Scrim Gym Cinis, but they've been vital. They've been really, really important to us shooting. But we have all this this equipment. We brought in aerial drones. We've got 2 drones. We've got 10 drone batteries. We also have multiple cameras. I've got 4 cameras, and we've been shooting with Canon on this trip. So we're doing Canon R5s. I also have a modified R5. So if you guys know anything about Canon R5, it is literally the best camera on the market, in my opinion, but it has a major flaw. It overheats constantly. So if you're shooting, you're filming, it overheats really, really quickly, especially in warm climates. It's shooting at 8K or shooting at 120 frames a second at 4K. So when you're shooting with an 8K camera, it overheats really, really, really quickly. So I had mine specially modified. There's a company called Kalari Vision, and I had, so one of my Canons is specially modified. So it has a heat sink where they take apart the camera and they install a heat sink inside the R5. And inside this camera, there's a special heat sink so that it draws the heat away, and it hardly ever overheats. It does a little bit, but you can get, I would say, 5 times the length of shooting out of this as my other R5, because it has a heat sink inside of it. Really great tactic and strategy for shooting in warm climates, and also extremely high resolution, both photographic and video. So the camera's amazing. I shoot with a variety of lenses, but essentially for these, I have the Canon RF lenses. So we're shooting with the 15 to 35, and I believe I also have the 24 to 105. Those are my kind of core lenses. I also brought my other Canon bodies like Mark IVs and 1DX Mark IIIs, and those cameras, I've got the EF lenses, L series. I've got my 17 to 40, 16 to 35, 24 to 70, and also my 70 to 200 long lens. But for what we're doing, I haven't found that we've needed anything else other than these the 15 to 35 and the 24 to 105 on these cameras for the R5s. That's all I've really needed, and that gets plenty of different variants. But I love having both. Very, very valuable to have that. But great question, Lance. I do bring everything. You can't really rent stuff when you go this long. If I was to rent equipment and I'm traveling for 3 weeks, it would cost a fortune. So in this case, you really have to have your own gear. So it does get very, very expensive. So making sure you have, now I have my own equipment anyway, but in this circumstance, I was flying directly from my castle in France to the Maldives. So I was limited on what I could bring and transport because I'm flying from one international place to another international place. I only had so much equipment. So what I did, and this is also kind of a secret strategy, is I actually rebought some of the gear, had it shipped from Amazon to two of my assistants and camera operators that are coming with me that are in different locations in the States, in Florida and California, and I had it shipped to them, and it's some of the equipment that I can easily return on Amazon. So I shipped it. They have a 30-day return policy. Like for instance, the ScrimmGem Cines, you know, it's not a terribly expensive piece of equipment. It's like maybe, I don't know, $600 to $1,000 for each ScrimmGem Cine. But I had that shipped in to them because I had no way of them accessing my equipment back in California. Then they load it up and then transport it here, use the equipment, bring it back, return to Amazon. That is one option. But most of the gear I did bring was my own. And I normally would bring my own, but in this case, I actually I'm doing a buy and return on some of the gear from Amazon, which I do a lot for wardrobe as well. So wardrobe that we're using here, like swimsuits and clothing, I do buy and returns. I love places like Amazon or department stores like Bloomingdale's and Macy's and stuff. So yeah, and also another comment we have from Oyama Moraes. I would bring my own, absolutely, Oyama. You got to bring your own gear, but also remember when you have real high limitations on weight, it's a big issue because we're not just thinking about camera equipment. This is the easy stuff. This is the light stuff. It's the lighting equipment. It's, you know, shooting with these things like this Diva light. If you see here, this giant Diva light, this is very, very challenging, expensive, and heavy to transport, you know, or all these other lights I have here. I've got all these LEDs, very, very difficult to pack into the luggage and to bring those out here on location. The easy stuff is the camera gear. That's the easy stuff. And I think that a lot of photographers, they get stuck on like camera gear and lenses and stuff, but that's the least important piece of this. It's all the big heavy stuff that we really need that is more important. I also brought some pro photo lighting gear as well. So I have a B1s. I have two pro photo B1s with multiple batteries. So I can also, and I have 7-inch reflectors. Normally I like to use beauty dishes as well, but beauty dishes are kind of tough to transport. So what I do is use collapsible beauty dishes and also 7-inch reflectors that I can easily transport. And that's for still photography in a place like this. I'll answer another question here from Susan Manley. Can you type the name of the stabilizer unit for the R5? Absolutely, Susan. Let me type that right now. I'm using the, it's a DJI Ronin S2, I believe, is the, I'm sorry, DJI Ronin S2. I believe that's the model. This guy is amazing. They can be a little temperamental. So, you know, you have to be really careful with it because like I said, you know, we had two and one of them went under. So when shooting in the water, so now we're down to one, but that's okay. We only need one really for what we're doing is generally when I'm shooting with a 2-camera setup, when we're filming, for instance, I'll have one on a tripod and the other one on a Ronin. But I definitely need to have at least one. The stabilizer is absolutely critical, but that is an excellent, excellent question. And if you guys have any questions, I know there's a lot of stuff. People are mentioning stuff in the chat, but I'd also love for you guys to ideally ask the questions in the Q&A. That's a little bit easier for me to see everything. Okay. Susan also asked, can you spell the name of the company for the heat sink? Yeah, it's called, if you guys are interested in this, I can give you all the information personally. Set up a Zoom call with one of our photographic consultants, and we can jump on and talk about developing your photographic brand. We offer this, which is, I think it's really cool because, you know, nobody really does this. But for me, you know, what we do with the photography workshop series, we're here to help guide our photographers. And it's really important to me to help you guys with art direction, help you guys with learning travel photography, fashion photography, all the different aspects of how to maximize your experience. And we have professional photographic consultants, and we are offering free photographic consults this week. And I'm on location from the Maldives, but one of our expert panel consultants, Priscilla Evans, is also on location in the Maldives, and she can also talk with you guys directly from the Maldives and give you guys some guidance free photographic consults that we're offering with any of our photographic consultants, from Daniel Rothschild to Madison Gonzalez to Priscilla Evans. And I'm gonna give you guys a link here and a free photographic consult. And I'd recommend that you guys set one up, and we can talk about travel photography, shooting luxury travel photography, learning about art direction, how to art direct a scene like this, because it's absolutely critical. Go ahead and click on that link in the chat so you can set up your own dedicated personal photographic one-on-one session for free with one of our photographic professional consultants. And that's a pretty cool experience. And sometimes I even jump on as well when I have time, even though I'm traveling all around the world all the time, shooting all over and doing epic productions. But I want to make sure that you guys have this opportunity to jump on with our photographic consultants as well. So make sure, guys, click that link, set up your consult, and jump on with our photographic consultants so you guys can take your photography to the next level. And if you guys have any questions, further questions about this that may or may not have been answered on this webinar, we can consult and talk to you personally about it, and also answer all your questions about equipment as well. And also, Lindsay, I love all these questions. I will answer these on lenses. I'm shooting my main lenses. I'll tell you, it's the 15 to 35 millimeter. I know you're asking about which lenses I'm using. 15 to 35 millimeter R series lens, Canon. That is one of them, so I'll type that as well. And also the 24 to 105. Lindsay, are you looking at buying some equipment right now to do travel photography, or are you into fashion photography? What are you into? Tell me. Go ahead and let me know. Are you interested? Are you looking at buying equipment? Are you thinking about it? Because if you guys are, definitely talk with us first. We're experts on equipment. We're experts on what to get, and how to use the gear. That's most important. But I definitely want to know if you guys are thinking about contemplating buying gear. Talk to us first, for sure, because we can help maximize, especially find the right gear. Make sure you're not wasting too much on it. And then also investing properly in what you should be doing in your photographic career, which is developing your photographic portfolio and your video production reel. Those are the most important things. And I always am a huge advocate of not wasting too much equipment on gear. Like I said, I even did a bunch of buy and return just on this trip alone. And I have a lot of gear, but I acquired it from landing huge opportunities and campaigns where the clients are paying for it. Now, in this experience, since I'm also shooting for a television show, and I do have a little budget to put towards equipment, I'm also incorporating some of that budget towards buying some of the gear on this trip specifically. So, you know, I kind of go, I buy as I go. You know, I'm not going to just buy equipment for the sake of buying equipment. That's ridiculous. I would never do that. That's not a smart investment. But what I will do is I will buy equipment when I have an opportunity that's paying for it. In this experience, I have an opportunity that's paying for it. So because of that, I'm buying equipment that I'm going to use. And some of it I'm actually buying and returning. Some of it I'm buying and keep. You know, like one of the new things I bought because I had a budget to pay for it is the Canon R5 with a modified heatsink. But if I didn't have a client paying for it, I wouldn't buy the camera. I think that's silly. There's no reason to buy a camera if you don't have a client paying for it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's not logical. You know, as long as you have one camera with a couple of lenses, you're okay. You don't need to buy all the bells and whistles. I only buy gear when I have a client paying for it. So think about that. All of your investment should be put towards developing your photographic career. That is everything, or your video reel. That is the only thing that matters. That's what I want all of you guys to invest in. I want to make sure to invest in your photographic portfolio, your video reel. By the way, I'm just sharing the poll results. And how likely are you guys to enroll in one of our elite photographic workshops? It looks like the majority of you say a 10. That's fantastic. And then a lot of the rest of you are, you know, basically 7, 8s, and 10s. I think that's fantastic. I love that. Really great to hear. And I would love for you guys to join us on these epic experiences, because I guarantee you that an experience, one of our epic photographic experiences, whether it's one of our luxury travel experiences, whether it's coming with me to the Maldives and joining me to shoot this epic content, or whether we are shooting at one of our 5-day experiences, or at the castle where it's a 6-day experience and you're getting 4 massive scale production days, whatever it is, I want to make sure that you guys are developing your body of work, your photographic and video body of work, and investing in that. I'm also launching another poll, and I'm asking, what is your budget to develop your photographic portfolio and enroll in an elite photographic workshop? And I want you guys to tell me, what is your budget? Because if you guys are thinking about buying, for instance, an R5 or a 15 to 35 millimeter lens, think again. Think again. I mean, even though I like this kind of equipment, if it were me, I would be investing in my portfolio first before I ever buy equipment. Equipment is just a little, it's an excess. It's an excess, and it's just a tool. This is all it is. You know, I mean, if you're a, you know, say if you're a carpenter, you know, are you gonna just buy new hammers and new, you know, drills like, you know, every 6 months or every year? No, you're gonna use one drill, and you're going to use one set of, you know, a hammer and equipment that you're going to have for years. And it's the same thing in photography. You don't need to buy a new camera every year. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You don't need the newest, best, fanciest, or whatever. You don't need that. These cameras, I mean, I've shot with, you know, some of the cameras that, like the 5D Mark IV that's been out for years and years and years. And the only reason I replaced it is because I wanted, for my TV show, I needed to film in 8K. It's the only reason. And that's why I got the R5 and I had a client pay for it. But otherwise, there's no reason for it, because the 5D Mark IV, in my opinion, is one of the best cameras ever made. And it's a camera that I've had for years. You guys can do the same. So I want to make sure that you guys, what is your budget to develop your photographic portfolio and enroll in an elite photographic workshop and take your career to the next level? What's your budget? Because this is critical, guys. Remember, invest in yourself. Do not invest in equipment. And invest in experiences like coming here, you know, coming to places like the Maldives, traveling to the castle, having an experience of a lifetime, especially if you guys are just into travel and you know, maybe you don't do this as a profession. That's okay too, but invest in the experiences, and that is everything, because we only live once. And for me, having the experience of a lifetime is everything. Traveling to the most amazing places in the world is absolutely like critical for me. Okay, so I'm gonna actually show you guys, I'm gonna bring on some panelists, but I'm also gonna be showing you guys some raw footage from what we shot as our panelists jump on. I'd love for, let's see, I've got the great Priscilla Evans, who's been joining us and is not only one of our top photographic consultants, but she's also the co-host of my TV show, Great Escapes, with us, and also going to be a co-host of the new show that we have coming out for HBO, which I'm really excited about. And also, she is the talent. She's the person we're shooting here in the Maldives. Primarily, it's the two of us, but primarily it's her, because she's the eye candy. So we have these amazing people, of course, on our team. And Priscilla is, it's really incredible. So I've got Priscilla on. I've also have the great Daniel Rothschild. We should be having one more join us as well, which I'm really excited about. So I know Enoch and Kimmy should be joining us. They just joined us in the Maldives. They just left and went back to Maryland. But they're on a filming production shoot right now, and I think are going to join us as well. So I'm really excited about that, because they can tell us about their experience. So to bring on our next panelist, I would love Priscilla to jump on and talk with us about essentially, now Priscilla, you are a TV travel host, and you're also a great photographic consultant, and you work with photographers every day, but you're also a co-host of the show. And you've got to experience all this amazing stuff in the Maldives, and you've been able to shoot this incredible content with me. I want to know, from your perspective, can you share any kind of secrets? Because I know that like this is kind of new to you, with, you know, traveling all over the world and shooting productions, because you helped me produce the epic shoot, and were very, very instrumental in producing what we shot at the castle in France. But why don't you tell us about this experience when we're in places like the Maldives? Are there any secret strategies to photographing and also filming in a place like the Maldives?
Hey guys, it's great to be on, joining you from the other side of the world, which is crazy. And yes, I'm now technically a TV travel host, which is wild. I never expected that to happen in this lifetime, and it's happening now. So it's a gorgeous place here. It's sunrise in the Maldives, and let me show you the view from my villa. The color probably isn't even that clear at your end, but it is insane. This place gets the most beautiful colors in the water that I've ever seen. Sometimes there's like 10 shades of blue, and there's no lighting going into that. It's all natural sunlight. It's pretty insane. So it looks gorgeous on camera, and there's a lot of amazing content to capture here. And yeah, I mean, if you don't have this kind of content in your either reel or, you know, portfolio, then you should, especially if you're angling for anything in the lifestyle, health and wellness, pharmaceutical. I mean, it could go everywhere. Resort, hotel. There's so many industries that would love you if you showed them content like this and from a place like this. So definitely, I think that if you can find a way to capture it and utilize it, then that's the best, and it's going to be the best for your, you know, your businesses going forward. So yeah, as far as secret strategies, Kevin, I guess what I've seen, and I had the privilege of working with Enoch and Kimmy, these amazing photography and, you know, production couple who are definitely going to take the world by storm. It's pretty insane, the content they had and they've shot here, and having them and building that team and working with team and collaborating is going to do so much for their brand. And equally, you know, we all win because we're working with terrific people. We're all shooting amazing content together, but also with that collaboration, we have amazing ideas. And, you know, Enoch, some of his ideas and the way that he sees a place like this, especially when you see it for the first time. You know, Kevin and I have been pretty lucky to come back a few times and scout these locations, film in these locations before, and, you know, film promo content, whereas a fresh set of eyes sees it a different way. So, you know, for me, having that and being, you know, coached a different way on, you know, how to be in front of camera and how to bring the best presence, the best stage presence, but also how to capture scenes in a way that is going to tell the story, and, you know, a new way for a new audience, you know, in the 21st century. It's amazing. So that collaboration was just insane. And I think, you know, as doing as much of that as possible in our careers and eating up the value that we get as far as all of this amazing content. Something I would say as far as I don't know if it's a secret strategy, but something I would definitely recommend is, if you're lucky enough to capture content like this, the tricky part there is being really careful about what you then distribute in the world, because once you start growing your brand in any way and developing your brand in any way and getting fresh content there, then the standard has changed, and it really means a totally reshaping and a total revamp of the entire brand. Because if you don't want, you know, the next, maybe it's could be a decision maker for CBS, it could be any kind of producer or director, but the next best, you know, person you're going to meet who could be responsible for that next big opportunity, if you don't want them to see certain content, or if you've got certain content in your brand that's not as relevant to them, be really careful about that, because any changing of your brand, it totally, you know, reshapes the perception that you're aiming for and the perception you want those decision makers to have of you. So, you know, this takes, you know, a travel lifestyle, you know, resort. If you're pitching this kind of content to any hotel, you know, they're going to eat it up and want you there. So, you know, you don't want to also be showing them, you know, maybe content that you're still posting on social that might be from, you know, maybe a later date or a, you know, previous shoot that's just not at the same level. So with growth comes, like, I guess, more critical thinking and critical analysis of what content you're putting out there and what that perception is of your brand. So be really conscious of that.
Excellent. That's some really good advice. And as you guys can see, as she's talking, here's just some raw footage, just right out of camera, stuff that, you know, was shot, you know, at the infinity pool at Heritance Aarah, this unbelievable resort that was just out of this world. Content shot with aerial drones. Now, tell us a few little secrets about actual filming, Priscilla, because I know that it's a lot different when you're in a place like a resort and you have a crew and you only have 6 people with us, including us, the hosts. It's a lot different, and everybody kind of has to pitch in. You know, talk about kind of timelines and like when to shoot and how to prepare, and You know, what, as far as somebody like, you know, Enoch, what he has to think about, and what a photographer or a camera operator has to kind of work with, as well as coming from the talent side. You know, what kind of things did you have to do that are maybe a little bit different than, say, if you're at a, you know, huge production here in Los Angeles, back in Los Angeles or New York or something?
Totally. I mean, the light here is it's a difficult, you know, thing to balance and to manage. We've been doing a lot of indoor shooting, particularly for interviews with, you know, the general managers of these resorts. And when you're doing that, you want to try and capture, you know, you've got this incredible background, but of course with audio and with the wind that's blowing right now, it makes it kind of impossible to record interviews outside. So to find these, you know, amazing big glass panels and windows and try and shoot with those, that's a real challenge, because you're trying to capture the natural world, these amazing colors outside, light ourselves properly for an interview inside. We're shooting for ages because there's many takes, and these, you know, Maldivian general managers aren't necessarily that comfortable on camera. So a lot of the time, you know, you have a conversation with them and they can speak, and then you get them in front of a camera and they kind of clam up and they get really nervous. So it takes a long time. So the light is constantly changing. Plus we're actually still technically in their like wet season here and their stormy season. So sometimes you'll get, you know, a few hours of perfect weather, and then 10 minutes, you know, comes and it changes and you've got a storm that blows in. So all those lights that Kevin was showing you before, they're reflecting on glass, and it's extremely challenging to try and, you know, capture the beauty of the outdoor world through a glass panel while we're doing an interview. So that was, you know, really, really insightful actually to see how that was lit, and the fine tuning that is required to balance those lights and make sure that there's not a single reflection kind of showing in that background. You know, that was incredible. Enoch did an amazing job of managing that. And it's tricky, you know, we can be halfway through an interview and he's like, oh, sorry guys, cut that one. We gotta readjust and change the lights again. So that was a challenge. I mean, the outdoor side of things, drone shots are obviously what make these places. You know, when you're in a location like this, it's all about drone, it's all about sandbanks and huge scenes from above and amazing content. So the challenge there is that on some of these resorts, they're so small that, you know, this content was actually done by Enoch just a couple of days ago. It's pretty amazing seeing this for the first time. But yeah, the drone stuff is a challenge, especially with the seaplanes. So a lot of the times these resorts, they have a no drone policy. And if they see a drone, they will even send out people on jet skis to come and hunt it down, find out where you are, and make sure that drone is not in the air ever again. So, you know, some resorts, even on cruises, sometimes I've actually been on cruises where they actually confiscate drones for that exact same reason. And they'll confiscate them at the beginning of the trip and they won't return it to you until the end. So it's really important to be opaque with these, you know, the people at these resorts, showcase to them what you want to shoot. We've been trying some pretty challenging scenes where it's drone footage of seaplanes landing, and we've been getting really close to them. We've been doing all that with, you know, the permission and a lot of conversations that have had to happen to get everyone to be nice and relaxed about that. But it's a huge challenge. So, you know, obviously that's the kind of content that's to be opening the show and opening the episode or closing it, you know. But it's a huge challenge to get content like that and get the approval for it. So a lot of this, you know, it looks terrific and you see those scenes, but there's so much planning that goes into them, you know, and then the scenes themselves, we're doing them, you know, many, many times in a row for TV to try and capture everything. And it's definitely analyzing it with a different kind of perfection, especially for video, because obviously with photography, we can go in and do some touch-ups at the end and retouching and that sort of thing. With video, it's got to be a lot cleaner and really cinematic, which is possibly a different style of shooting video than, you know, what, say if you're a consumer photographer, you might be shooting for your clients. You know, I know like with Enoch, for example, does a lot of boudoir photography and videography as well, you know, with that on the side, another string to his bow. But it's a very different style, you know, shooting video for TV. It's a very cinematic, clean, different types of techniques that we're using. So that's also been really interesting to sort of study. And as the talent, you know, I'm moving in a different way, and definitely the art direction's coming in a different form. It's, you know, sometimes it's more like a lifestyle art direction, which is exactly what you see here. It's all those, you know, smiles and huge big beaming smiles and fun and laughs. you know, but you can't do that all the time. So you've got to keep it natural and get some of these scenes that capture, you know, whatever the tone and the essence is of what we might be talking about on the interview. So yeah, a lot of different ways to tell these stories, and you know, it's ultimately being edited as well by and pieced together by someone else, you know, third party who's not necessarily here right now. So it's not as simple as, you know, shooting for a client, working directly with the client. We've actually got to shoot a lot more content than what you'll ever see on TV to be able to give them enough to work with. So really different style of shooting, but it's tons of fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, we're showing some of this is also some of the dining stuff. So this is a whole nother thing that a lot of resorts love to showcase, some of the dining. So it might be, this is all shot in 8K, so it's a little slower, I think, in the, it's as far as the rebroadcast here. But showing some of this stuff, you know, some of the action sequences of the teppanyaki chef at the, you know, at one of their high-end restaurants. And this is something that Enoch captured. But really, really important to, you know, to get all aspects of the resort to make sure that you've got it covered, from the dining experiences to, you know, you saw the teppanyaki flame, you saw, you know, you got the chef, you've got the restaurants themselves, the aerial stuff, to also footage with us experiencing it, all of that. Really, really important, both photographic and video. But obviously for me, the video is really, really important to get people excited and show them what's going on here. But those are some really good tips and strategies, Priscilla. Thank you so much. And I feel like you guys just learned this wealth of information. And if you want to get on with the great Priscilla Evans and have a one-on-one photographic strategy session with her, go ahead and set that up. You can go ahead and click on the link right there that's in the chat. And Priscilla can join you and actually join you live from the Maldives and talk with you guys personally about you know, all this luxury travel, because she's an expert in this field. And this is something that she's currently doing right now. So pretty spectacular. And thank you so much for Priscilla for jumping on and also for joining me on this amazing experience, because you've been an absolute pro, and it's exceptional to work with somebody who's so wonderful and so easy to work with. And that's another secret to this, guys, is working and bringing a crew and people that are easy to work with, that want to be on camera, that want to work with you or behind camera, and making sure that all the details are perfection. And Priscilla's an absolute genius at that. So thank you so much, Priscilla. I appreciate that.
Oh, you guys are welcome. I'd love to jump on anytime.
Excellent. Okay, so yeah, and by the way, I'm just going to answer a few questions here that we have in the Q&A. So Susan asked, will I be able to see a repeat of this webinar? Absolutely. We've got all of our webinars on repeat on our YouTube channel, and I definitely recommend you guys all jump on and join our YouTube channel, because that's really important to me, because we have all these amazing webinars in rebroadcast. I think we have, this will be our 33rd webinar that is on our rebroadcast, so it is all available, and I recommend you guys jump on and watch that. We can send you guys the link, but making sure that you guys watch each and every one of them. It will be in rebroadcast probably by later today, which is awesome, our time. So it'll be uploaded to YouTube. So go ahead, and if you want to, please subscribe. If you click on that link that I just put in the chat, that will allow you guys to watch the rebroadcast, as well as the most recent webinars and all the ones we've done over the last year. We have been presenting these incredible webinars, and it has been amazing. We've had thousands and thousands and thousands of photographers jump on and become inspired, get excited, and transform their careers. And we've been able to touch so many photographers since then. Even some of our webinars have hit some pretty good numbers. I think our webinar on secrets of fashion photography hit 14,000 views on YouTube, which is really exciting. I love it when we get a big audience like that as well. So I definitely encourage you guys to jump on. I know this is kind of a late hour. It's the only way we could do this live from the Maldives during daytime hours, because here it is, it's like 8:15 in the morning. And I know it's late at night there where you guys all are in the States primarily. But it's kind of all we can do as far as the time zone difference, because it's a 13-hour time difference from California. So it's kind of a challenge. But it is such a pleasure to have you guys join us. Make sure to click on those links, and I'm going to bring on the next panelist. So we have the great Daniel Rothschild, and Dan is he has been, our leading photographic consultant with our photographers. He has coached literally hundreds of you guys into luxury travel, into lifestyle photography. He is an absolute inspiration, and I'm really excited to have him on. And so the great Dan Rothschild, welcome. And I'd like to know from you, because you're the one who actually was able to work with Kimmy and Enoch, our amazing camera operator, and his wonderful wife that just joined us here in the Maldives. And you were able to coach him on kind of what the next steps were for his career. And you've been really instrumental in transforming Enoch's entire career. So Dan, can you talk a little bit about that? Like what's advantageous and important to a photographer and a camera operator, what you feel like they need in their bodies of work, and how it's going to transform Enoch, as well as many of the other hundreds of photographers that you get the opportunity, the privilege to work with, and why what we do with the Photography series has completely transformed the lives of so many, literal thousands and tens of thousands of photographers. I'd love to hear from you. Talked about that. How has it helped Enoch, and how has it helped the thousands of photographers that we work with?
Well, first of all, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate everything you've said, and it's always such an honor to be on your webinar. So, Enoch and Kimmy are a team, and so he's an incredible photographer. He has a great history. He's the photographer and cinema photographer for a television station, a local television station, and he's wanting to advance. He wants to still keep his great job he has and still perform like he has for many, many years with them, but he wants to also add and become his own brand. And so after, when you brought up that there was a spot available, my brain started clicking. It's like, okay, who? And I was like, I thought of Enoch and Kimmy because they're already coming to 2 of our workshops. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a way to launch his new additional career in photography and a videographer, as a videographer, would do this. And so what this is going to do for him is many things. One, his portfolio of this exotic resort lifestyle, the location and experience, and directed by you, and the whole thing. Plus, it's going to be he's just been a part of making an episode for your CBS television show. Well, to be able to jump right into that spot is incredible. And so on a resume, not only his portfolio and his video reel that he'll be able to use to market himself, it's going to be a credential that's mind-blowing and almost, in a strange sense, almost impossible to do without moving up the ranks for your whole lifetime to get to. So that's great. And also they're doing, he's going to be coming to our New York workshop in a couple of weeks, and also our Elite Masterclass at the end of the year, to add more portfolio body of work, photos, so he can market himself using world-class models, world-class locations, world-class fashions. And you've mentioned it many times on your webinars. The secret sauce is so much the art direction that you do and you teach and share at all the productions, including the one you're at right now. So this is really important. And, I'm going to add something that is really kind of, you've talked about, and you and Priscilla have mentioned, I mean, gosh, everything, super important information about this particular situation. So I believe an important understanding about all that you and Priscilla have talked about is this: the details of how this type of production and shoot are done are a bit different, specific to that particular shoot you've done, but the basic format is similar to any photographic production shoot that you'll do. So whether you're hired by, say, a beverage company like Pepsi, or I don't know, a fashion company like Dolce & Gabbana, or an insurance company like Allstate, or a pharmaceutical company like Novartis, you will follow a format of detailed consideration of the client's purpose. You brought it up earlier about the resort, about the television show. You really have kind of two different clients you're working with here. But just like you have done at the Maldives, every client has their purpose of hiring you. And you'll follow a generic format and fill in the specific details to accomplish the client's goal, along with your creative ideas and flair, while they're hiring you. So it's great to see your details of this specific process and your vision and what you make. It's so incredible. It's mind-blowing. I love it. And what you've shared is so incredible here with everybody. That's one thing you do that's I've never seen in my life, is you love sharing all of your, well, others would call them secrets, but you share everything you know with photographers to help them advance. And it's a really neat thing. And look, you've mentioned it, but there's another type of production as well. Our workshops are productions that you get to experience, and the details, the format, and the incredible results of your world-class portfolio and video reel that you make under Kevin's guidance. The workshops are just like this. They're mind-blowing experiences that you get to walk away with. And you asked the question earlier. The portfolio is the selling tool. It's how you market yourself and how you're going to get noticed by big companies that pay big bucks. So I hope I've answered your question.
Absolutely. And, and specifically Enoch, I mean, he's an amazing inspiration, and he's a great guy. And I had so much fun working with him this last week in the Maldives. How do you feel like it's going to completely transform his career specifically?
Oh, well, okay. So he's he and many photographers are great photographers, but it's how do you get from here to here? And so he's a great, photographer for a local TV station. Well, that's a fantastic position to have. To be able to do his own productions and be hired by companies as himself is going to create a brand that is powerful, and the bucks follow. And so what that means is, he's going to be able to land ad campaigns in the six figures, with the work he is going to be doing and has done in the Maldives. He'll be doing at the workshops, and then the application of marketing that. And I'll assist him, and we assist him, and our team does, to be able to present himself in that new brand and those photographs and video reel to companies, because it's not often that you see out and about the quality portfolios that are made at our workshops by the photographers. They're mind-blowing. And any kind of company, like I mentioned earlier, like a Pepsi or an insurance company like an Allstate, or any of those companies, love and want that caliber photography. So what it's going to do is give him the ability and tools to jump to a higher level and higher pay and higher branding. Besides his own work he's been doing for an organization, a TV station. So he'll have his own personal brand and success.
Absolutely. And you can see, kind of what he's done up until this point, and then now the kind of the stuff that he's creating with us here in the Maldives, which is really spectacular. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%, Dan. It's going to be a absolute transformation in his career, and he really wants to get into shooting, at a higher level, as well as for television and such. I'm
Well,
just
Kevin,
aerial stuff
let
here.
me throw in one thing, and that is, I'd be willing to bet from all the photographers I work with, every one of them have been thinking about how do I get from here to here for periods of time, years, whatever. And your guidance, the workshops, the advancement in their portfolio to being a world-class level, it's the real answer to advancing. And not only the workshop, but it's afterwards. All week long, I'm on Zoom conferences with photographers that have already attended the workshops. We're working on their portfolio, their website, their LinkedIn profile, how to market. It's, it's the full package of being the answer to everyone's question of, well, how do I get from here to there? How do I make a brand? How do I make more money? All those things.
That's the ever-present question. And we have webinars all specifically on that. And we also talk about that specifically during our workshops, because it's really important to me that our photographers become champions, not just
That's
great
right.
photographers, but also champions. Because you know what, even if you just do this, you guys, for fun or just enjoyment, whatever, that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. But I want to make sure that you become the best version of yourself. And a lot of times our photographers are selling themselves short because they don't develop the body of work. They don't develop the career. And even if they do have the body of work, they don't actually go out there and reach out and use all the tactics and strategies that I teach during our epic workshops, as well as our one-day virtual workshops that we also offer. We have one on marketing, we have one on branding, we've got one on closing the deal, which is like the sales strategy. We have another one coming up on art direction and storyboarding. So if you guys are interested in any of that stuff, absolutely key, because we're here to help you. And I want to make sure that you're also achieving the greatness of your photography and becoming the best versions of yourself, because that is the most important thing to me. I just want to make sure that you guys, each and every one of you, becomes world-class photographers and camera operators and become the best version of yourself, because that is my mission in my career, is to help photographers and directors become the best versions of themselves so that they can maximize their careers and their lives, and we can give you guys the best start, the best opportunities going forward. Really important. Now, it looks like I was able to get the great Enoch Chan, who just joined me here in the Maldives. I've been really excited, Enoch, to have you on. It was so much fun working with you here. I wish you were here and You and Me Resort, the next resort we're at, but you got the experience to have Heritance Aarah, which was amazing. Enoch, you got to experience having a private butler, having a 5-star, unbelievable, world-class experience at a resort, and to be able to film and work as a camera operator and photograph unbelievable content, by far the greatest content you've ever shot in your career. I'm really excited for you, man. And tell us about your experience, and tell us about what you were able to capture and how your experience was working with us, and how that's going to kind of transform yourself into more of the next level with getting into the more narrative and the stuff that you really want to do in your career.
Yeah, I mean, my experience was pretty incredible. I mean, this resort was great. My wife and I really had never been to resorts before, and being able to go to one that was that incredible was kind of ridiculous. Having the butler there, I mean, we really did it as sort of a honeymoon, because we've been married 13 years. We never really had one because we're so busy. So it was a good way for us to get out there and kind of do that. But then on top of that, to be able to also shoot at a pretty incredible scale was really cool. It was a bit of a shift in philosophy for me when it came to shooting, because I've been so used to DPing certain types of work, and certain types of kind of doc and reportage work, and it was great to sort of break away from that, take my knowledge from that, and then also let it kind of grow in a different environment. It was really interesting too, because I'd spent so much of my time when it came to creating a cinematic look, based on, sort of like lensing and very, very tight focal length, very tight depth of field, to sort of create that soft background, which is a huge thing when you're shooting in, not beautiful spaces. and to go to a place like the Maldives where everything's just gorgeous. You know, it's okay to shoot at f8 or at f10 or f11 and have everything kind of be sharp and have it all kind of just exist, and then work through that, work around, then use different types of strategies to create that cinematic look. You know, you're moving a certain way, letting people kind of go off screen, which was it was really great. And this is, you know, really, it was just a great place to shoot and great people to shoot with. Oh, sorry, I think you're still muted.
And what do you think that some of the experiences, your favorite experiences or most memorable experiences were from the trip that that you'll never forget?
Well, you know, I mean, when it comes to just on a shooting level, definitely. I mean, I think everything. I mean, every part of the shoot was something that I would definitely remember. You know, I think, you know, when we did the interview stuff to get the shot we wanted, we were in a bathroom and with feet in a bathtub, to get like sort of the beautiful scenery behind, and that's what we had to do for that. For, you know, I got to scuba dive, which, you know, I had never done before, and to be able to actually get underwater with a tank and you know, sort of see some of the shots and see all that stuff happening, and how those shots were done was incredible. Another memorable thing was, you know, shooting behind a jet ski, and being tied off to someone while we were shooting to sort of get the shot, and then going underwater with the jet ski and saving the camera and kind of like pulling it up, was, you know, just really memorable stuff. And then definitely, like, I think the images we created and the shots we got were pretty just ridiculous. I don't know of, you know, I don't know of anything I've done in the past that allowed me, you know, and being, I think, in a place like this, that allowed me to get just such incredible things.
Yeah, this is actually just a little behind the scenes shot I posted to social. And it was really cool to see, like, you know, like Enoch was saying, when we're shooting the interviews, which is kind of a critical component of the TV show, this is something where, you know, it's spectacular, it's beautiful, so we want to show context of the outside, but we also have issues. It was super windy. And on this day, there was rain rolled in. So there's rain, there's wind, there's all this brutal weather outside. So sound is a big issue. So, you know, with this boom mic, it picks up everything. So we actually went into a bathroom and lit it where we had, and the reason we chose a bathroom is because we had this massive suite, this huge, elegant suite, but in the bathroom, it had windows on 3 sides. So the window light was coming from behind, which of course kind of blows it out from behind, but from the 2 sides. So we had enough light front lighting us in addition to adding all the LEDs, and it still was almost not bright enough. But it was kind of the only way, because when you're shooting in a place like the Maldives, everything is so bright, it's so intense that it's a huge challenge. But Enoch knocked it out of the park here and made the lighting incredible, and worked amazingly as a cinematographer.
Thanks so much, man. Well, and one of the cool things about that moment was, like, you know, being, you know, having to shoot throughout the day like that and being able to take sort of some of the skills I've had in the past about sort of adjusting levels and stuff, to that as the day changed, as the day shifted, our strategies to still make it look like the same time of day and the same lighting outside. And, you know, the amount of adjustments we had to make with the lights throughout the day and the iris and everything else, and shift shots just to make it look, you know, the same.
Exactly.
It was really cool. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that, I mean, I think that's really special. And as you can see, like, it's really, really hard to make something like this happen. We were shooting for like 6-7 hours out here, maybe longer, just to get that shot, to make sure that it had that kind of feel. It is not easy, guys. Something like, and we shot this with a 2-camera setup, so to get 2 different angles, you know, very, very, very challenging to do. But Enoch knocked it out of the park. And he's an expert with interviews. So he's done this before for many times. He's been working for PBS for many, many years. So he is an expert already. But it was really cool to see him make this happen at Heritance Aarah.
And
So
it's also really neat, like,
yeah,
shooting in
are there
8K, because that was something I hadn't done much of, and being able to shoot in 8K and like it's a whole different strategy when you're thinking about how you frame shots in that world, and how your focus is, and what shows up on camera and what doesn't. And then also, how much data it takes up, and how quickly you burn through cards. Because I think we had all, I mean, I, at least in the past, had gotten used to even, shooting 4K, and even shooting high frame rate, being able to just keep rolling on stuff as things went along. And with this, it was back to stop and start, like back in the days of film, of just, making sure that you got the bite and you moved on and stopped down, because otherwise you just wouldn't have enough space in the cards. So that was really cool. Different experience.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And and it looked incredible, the kind of stuff that we were doing. We also, he got to shoot at all these different places, such as way out on the water. We were shooting sequences with snorkels. We went out on this like donny boat, and creating these scenes, because we need to show the context of where we are, right? So for instance, we go to a place like this, and we're out there, on the donny boat, and creating the sequence and showcasing, Priscilla walking through. Then you get to see me, and you have that great little sequence, the follow sequence, and then interaction, and then before we do the snorkel experience. So making sure that it feels personal, and showing context of where we are and all the experiences. Really, really important. So there's kind of an element of like lifestyle, in addition to the glitzy travel stuff with all the amazing drone stuff, and there's a mix of the interview. So were there any specific scenes, Enoch, that you were just like, wow, like this was the scene that I just loved?
It was funny, is like that scene you showed was great. And here's the funny thing is, I still, because I had to, I had such a short time there. I mean, it was 7 days, it was 8 days, 7 nights, but still kind of short based on what we needed to do. So this was actually the first time I'd seen that shot you just showed, not on the camera, because everything else was just, through the back of the camera. So that was actually a really cool scene to shoot, and really cool scene to watch. And the funny thing about that shot was that it was actually amazingly choppy that day, like very choppy for the Maldives, as I found out. And being able to shoot that with the gimbal and have it be pretty smooth, and have it not be, all over the place, was really neat. I mean, that was a great day. I mean, out on that boat, shooting all that content with you and Priscilla, and just kind of really telling the story through the shots, and really telling it visually through the shots without stressing about script, was a really great way to think about it, and kind of push through that. So, making sure we got everything from every angle and different angles. And one cool thing was even the first day when we were shooting, as the storm was coming in and we were trying to fake the sunlight, and having Priscilla walk through that door with the curtains billowing was such a John Woo moment. I kind of really love that. It was sort of, back to all we would have always wanted to shoot when I used to watch, all the old action movies and stuff. So it was really fun.
Absolutely. I'm gonna pull that one up too. That was a really cool sequence. Kind of right in the beginning, they had this thing. It was like it was kind of funny. This is where things always have to change when you're out filming in a tropical place. But what he's referring to is we're shooting this. It was called the Indulgence Breakfast, and so basically it was they bring like a floating breakfast into the pool, and at a place like that, I mean, it was awesome. But there are all these challenges with shooting at a place like that, because we have all of the issues of the rain fluke came in, the wind gusted up to probably 30 miles per hour. Maybe, no, actually, yeah, I think it was like 30 miles per hour or 32 miles per hour. So we couldn't even.
Yeah, it was pushing chairs off the porch. So.
What's that?
Oh yeah, it was like pushing chairs off the porch.
Yeah.
To run out and grab the chairs, because they were gonna.
It was blowing
throwing in the sea.
Patio furniture into the water, and it was really unusual. Since then, every day has been perfect, by the way, Enoch. Haven't had a drop of rain. Every day has been sunny, and it's been like hot, sunny.
All right, for the rain.
Yeah, so it's changed pretty dramatically. Yeah, and the weather can change pretty quick in the Maldives. Yeah, so what he's referring to is there was a sequence where we're kind of going through the curtains and creating these moments, and I felt like, Enoch, this is where you really brought your creativity into the scene, where it like kind of showed your kind of beautiful camera work, and it kind of showed like your style, your sense of style in a really strong way, with some of these curtain scenes. And and had Priscilla coming out of the curtains actually had something like that with me as well. And I felt like it was a really cool sequence that you were able to create, that I was like, wow, very, very impressed.
Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. I mean, I loved these moments. It was just I don't know, it's kind of what I've always wanted to do, how I've always wanted to shoot. And I've been sort of not prevented, but you often have to do what the job asks for. And the jobs I've done had that.
Exactly. And even this sequence that you did of me, I thought this was really cool. I mean, you did this really great, like, just sequence of moments, that just kind of felt like, whoa, like just a moment, these little captured moments, these little glimpses, which is kind of a different way than most photographers think, but it's a way a camera operator needs to think, to go from moment to moment to moment, to kind of capture everything together to create this story. And that's what he's doing, is telling stories here. Yeah.
And I still think you should get sponsorship from Canon for this shot.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Enoch. It was amazing, and I can't wait to see kind of what you do next with all of this, because this is really exciting, and you're so talented and amazing at what you do, and you've now added so many arrows to your quiver of what's next. And I'm really proud of you, Enoch, because you took a whole.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm really excited to see all this footage. And bring into my reel, and sort of like get to the next place up. And I'm excited about the September workshop. I mean, one additional thing I wanted to add that was really cool about this whole experience was my one-on-one time with you and Priscilla, and with your other cohorts there. It was just great to have those conversations, and great to sort of like talk about all the little secrets and all the little ways to kind of move forward, and stuff that I don't think is as readily available out in the world. I mean, it was incredible how open you were to sharing how to move ahead, which is, I know that in my experience with other photographers, we all tend to be pretty closed when it comes to how we got that client or how we got that client, because we're also worried about like it being taken away from us. So just thank you, and it was really cool that how open you are, and about sharing that, and really about having all of us excel. So thank you. That was great.
Oh, absolutely. Because, it's my goal, Enoch, for you to become the best version of yourself, and to become the champion out there, and to become a superstar as you have it in you. And I know that you have it in you, and you're so strong in what you have the capabilities to do. And all we need to do is basically give you the opportunity to have that level of production that will completely transform your life. And that's what I felt like we just did here in the Maldives. Here's another little sequence that I absolutely love from what we shot.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And this is in the rain, by the way. This was raining, and brutal and wavy, and just, I mean, it was just,
it was really, really cold. Poor Priscilla.
Yeah. It was intense. And we had to rig this indulgence breakfast by like tying fishing line to it to essentially hold it in place. Otherwise the thing would have blown right off, just like some of the furniture did. But showing this context of like having, me in one spot, shooting from behind me, letting this, showing this reveal through, with having her walking through, looking at me, myself looking at her. I mean, this is a really dynamic scene. The way this is directed, the way that it's shot, it's a really beautiful scene. And the camera work is just beautiful here. And it shows.
I mean, I just love having I just love that we were able to really have a full foreground, a middle ground, and a background, and let stuff soften out. And even as we needed so much of the background to be focused, because it was just a beautiful sight, you want to see that. Like having that foreground be soft and a little bit of the background be soft really sort of, I think, completed that scene, which is really lovely. And also, I think I already saw you show some of that drone footage, but I really loved playing with that drone because that's super fun. And it's something I've been, trying to play with for a while and haven't been able to because of where I live and where I am. Like there's just so much security and so many places where you can't fly. Being able to have the experience to, fly in a place where you really had, openness to be able to do kind of whatever you wanted movement wise with those drones was great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is another little sequence that I loved shooting with the Indulgence breakfast, but from more of like a higher angle.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
Very challenging. This is like the very end of the day. We're losing light. It's freezing cold. It was
Everybody's cold.
Yeah, it was weird because the Maldives was always 90 degrees, and this
Yeah.
day just happened to be the one weird day. But you know what? That's what you have time wise to film. So
The things, I mean, at that point I was in the water too, which is kind of funny.
yeah.
But yeah.
But you can always, no matter if it's 90 or 100 degrees or whether it's, windy and rainy or whatever, you can still make it look magical with your camera techniques. And I feel like you did an amazing job there. It looked
Thank you.
incredible.
Thanks so much. Well, and that was what was great was that that you kind of pushed us and we allowed ourselves to do that. It would have been really easy as the day got cloudy to just say, we're done. And we really shot until I mean, really till dusk. We really shot until things got dark. And a hurricane almost started coming in kind of thing. Because I have this shot I did of, with my still cameras, like totally blue water with this totally blue sky. And that was when we finally kind of like called it. But before then we just kept shooting and we're able to make it look pretty bright and sunny and seem pretty great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the magic of being a great camera operator and cinematographer. And some of this stuff we shot, I think, this became kind of a challenge because it was then super bright. Then we've got to deal with the other issue, which is on the other end of the spectrum where it's too bright and the light's really fierce. So we were basically shooting this scene where I have assistants in the water walking with Priscilla and having a scrim gym, like an 8x8 over her to give her that light. You can even see it. Yeah, it comes into frame a little bit there. But having her, coming into water, running into water, whatever. Otherwise, the light is just so brutal on her. Making sure that you can get all the best light in every situation. You can see kind of like
that was a great experience for me too because like I'd played a little bit with scrim gyms but hadn't used them a huge amount because of the limitations of a lot of what I do is you're so limited on time and bodies that you don't have the ability to sort of like set up a scrim gym and have people hold it or set up a scrim gym, put it up in a certain place like outside of like very specific times. So just utilizing that kind of at all times and just having it in your back pocket was a really great way to work.
Absolutely. And we brought two with us. So we have a giant bounce and a giant scrim. So we're gonna be using that. And today we're going to be doing more of that water experience. We're going to be using the underwater little like sea torpedo things, the scrim gym, using the little sea bobs underwater for our underwater divers and snorkelers. And Enoch was able to get in and do the diving, which was really cool.
That was really neat. The diving was just incredible. I mean, yeah. What was that?
It was so cool that you got to learn to scuba dive and
I mean it was huge and it was crazy like understanding like realizing later on that they don't let you do that anywhere. Usually you have to have at least like a 3-day cert or something like that, but they literally were able to sort of give us a quick tutorial, go through all the equipment and say, hey, we did he set us in a shallow end and kind of worked through like here's what you do real quick just in case of anything. And we worked through all that and then we were able to jump right in and do some filming underwater, which was really incredible. And it was so beautiful. I mean, just incredible scenery.
It was pretty insane. It was, and then, we had, different gear and we also had some gear challenges. We had an underwater body for an R5 and there was something going on with like the seal. So oh, sorry, there's some lag on the video here. But the underwater body comes in the water and it starts filling up with water. So you're like, immediately get the camera out and stuff like that and go to alternative. But some of that, becomes a bit of a challenge because we're doing underwater, we're doing aerial drones, we're shooting with Canon R5s on the ground. So there's all different, types of cameras and types of equipment, and we're filming all this amazing stuff, but having every different angle that you could imagine. And by the way, at the Miami workshop, we also do that. We're going to be shooting with aerial drones, with underwater cameras, and on the ground, which is pretty sweet. This is another little sequence to showcase some.
It was great also like seeing all those different elements and seeing how to bring them all together.
Absolutely. And that's the challenge, is bringing it all together.
And we also, and also telling the story of Nick, knowing that you're going to be diving, knowing when we're shooting you diving, and telling the story of that, and knowing that she's going to be snorkeling and that we're going to be shooting her snorkeling. So having like really telling the story of that, of having first that moment in the boat, of you all sort of seeing each other, of her helping you put the regulator and the air on. And having that moment, and you guys catching your eyes and seeing each other, and before we get to the moment of you guys actually underwater, because it just tells more of a full story as opposed to just random shots of you guys underwater or something. I think it just seems to make more sense.
Absolutely. It's a storytelling aspect, and I feel like that's where it becomes really cinematic, is when you can tell the story from what he's saying. Like I'm putting on the tank, and she's helping adjust my belt. And there's like this moment. So it's like, we get on the doney, then there's the experience of us, gearing up. Then there's actually a scene of me throwing her in the water. Then there's the scene of us like actually snorkeling underwater. There's all these different moments that kind of come together. And then there's also drone of us from above as well. So we kind of have, from on the ground, in the water, underwater, and getting ready for the water, all kind of putting it together. And even though each sequence might only last a couple seconds, we then, it kind of all lines up to you have this kind of final storytelling experience. Yeah. But
it was really great too, like how collaborative the process was, which is really nice. It's very much like, hey, what idea do you have? What are you thinking? And back and forth. And that was really cool to be able to sort of like play with different ideas. And not just be directed, which was really nice as a because I think partly because just as a shooter, it's nice to have that kind of flexibility, and as a cinematographer and DP, it's nice to be able to do that. But also because at the end of the day, I really want to head more into narrative work and more into directing, so it's nice to have that kind of back and forth from that and the ability to do that. So
yeah, Enoch, you did an amazing job with all of that, and I feel like you
Thanks
are
so much, man.
You're a great storyteller. And I'm proud of you. I'm really excited to have you. And thanks for jumping on. I really appreciate you joining us on this amazing webinar. And I'm glad, because you coming on you're such an inspiration for our photographers and our directors that are on this webinar right now watching.
Thanks. It means a lot. Sorry it took me. It was so late. I got stuck in traffic on the way home, and it was a long work day. And so, but thank you very much for having me. It means so much, and the experience meant so much. Really. I know, like, it was sold very much as an experience of a lifetime, but it definitely lived up to that. I definitely know that, Kimmy and I would have never gone out to the Maldives if not for this. So it was really cool to do that, and then also be able to shoot and come back, and be a cinematographer out there, and then come back with a great reel to move forward. It was really incredible. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And everybody who's listening, keep moving forward, because there's more out there.
Well, thank you, Enoch. Take care, man. Can't wait to see you in New York at the New York workshop.
Take care. Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah.
Dude, it's gonna be epic.
Bye
We get to hang out with you and Kimmy in New York and in the masterclass
Yeah.
today, and I cannot wait to work with you on one of our productions stateside. It's gonna be epic.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. A lot of us in a really short time.
Definitely. Cool. Well, take care, Enoch. All right, guys. So I feel like we were able to kind of go through a lot today. We got to kind of cover so many aspects of going on location and shooting luxury travel on location. And I'm here still shooting in the Maldives and creating some amazing content. And it's really fun to have somebody like Enoch who actually got to experience it live with me in person and creating the greatest content that he's ever shot in his career. And to have that amazing showpiece of his real and photographic images that kind of have taken him to another level, which I'm really, really proud of him, and I'm really excited to see where he goes. And I can't wait to each and every one of you that I get to work with you personally on this journey as well. So make sure to click on that link and join us on our one-on-one strategy sessions if you guys haven't done that already. And I can't wait to work with all of you guys because this is something that it's an ongoing journey, and I want to make sure that each and every one of you gets to maximize what you're capable of. And a lot of times that starts with a big production, just like Enoch had an opportunity to do for a TV show here in the Maldives, and just like he's going to do in New York at an epic multi-day fashion editorial shoot in New York, and then the Elite Masterclass in LA, which is our kind of like over the top, most elite, most over the top, epic production of the year. That's going to be insane, and I'm really proud of him and excited for him to come. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so much fun, and here, of course, this is my favorite place in the world, the Maldives. Absolutely mind-blowing. And I cannot wait to see you guys here as well. So if any of you guys do want to join and take that spot for what we're discussing, I would love to have you guys jump on and join us. Definitely get in touch with us. And if you guys have any further questions, please ask them in the with your one-on-one strategy session with your photographic consultant. So take care, guys. And I can't wait to see what kind of magic you create. And I look forward to see you in paradise. Take care.